What's up, men? Welcome to the Male Cartel podcast. Let's get started.
Do you think men are important? Like for what?
Men are not meant to be dominant. Men are meant to be submissive.
Life's too short to exercise. I'm just gonna be honest.
It's okay to be fat.
Dispelling toxic masculinity and really redefining what it means to be a man. Men can cry. So it's okay to be weak. It's okay to be weak.
I'm telling you right now, not everybody wants to see you win.
You seem to be more woman than you are man. You don't have any manly qualities.
You give them this message that it's okay to be a man.
It's not okay, it's necessary. How are we going to do without men? You look around the city here, you see all these buildings go up, these men, they're doing impossible things.
It ain't about how hard you hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. How much you can take and keep moving forward. That's how winning is done.
Be a dangerous man. Being dangerous is not being a threat. They're two different things. You can't be a good man if you're not a dangerous man. You say one disrespectful thing to my wife, I am not only willing, but I'm able to inflict great bodily damage.
I'm going to do everything in my power to become a victor and not a victim. I can't explain it, but you better feel me. Winners win and losers lose. I can't explain it any better than that. I don't know how it happens, but winners win. And if you create a culture of losing, if you keep being a victim, if you keep letting losing happen to you, if you keep letting people do you and treat you any kind of way, it's going to become a culture. What's the matter with you? There is no tomorrow. There is no tomorrow. There is no tomorrow.
Here's your host, Nick and Shane.
The big 50.
Big 50.
50 episodes.
I'm glad it's 50 episodes, not 50 years old.
You're pushing it. You're pushing it.
This
I am
49.
too. But...
This should be 49 in August. So
yeah.
50, man. Dude.
Well, Carell's on 7 years beyond that.
Yeah, so Carell's like closer to 60.
Yeah,
big
he can
60.
give us some advice on the big 50 when it comes to age one day.
You think it's going to be weird? Like, you think it's like, you know, we hit, like when it's reality, you blow out all those 50 candles, and then you're like...
House is burning down?
Yeah, and you're just like, dude, I'm 50 years old. That's like...
It's crazy, man.
Will it mess up your mind, I guess, maybe?
It could. I think that's why some men go through midlife crisis. They you know, in denial.
Yeah, man. They thought it was some river, huh? I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't think 50 does that. I think it is monumental, obviously, but
I mean, you know, when it comes to 50 episodes, it's a big celebration.
Your parents have been married for how long?
Since 77, so that is almost...
That's 40. I'll be 40.
Almost 50 years.
Yeah, because when's their anniversary?
April 9th.
April 9th. So, yeah, so I'll be 49. I was born in 77. Mine's August. So yeah, 2 more years.
2 more years, yeah.
A year and some change. Are you going to throw a party?
2026, so
we got to throw a party for them.
Yeah.
When they reach 50.
Yep, 50 years.
Bro, we're going to do
century.
that. Daddy Carnes, listen. Papa OG Carnes, I know you're listening to us.
Yeah, he does.
And Mama Carnes, does she listen to us too?
I don't know.
I'll talk differently. If I
know
knew
he's relayed messages because that's how we got our sweet potatoes.
Right. I'm just gonna let y'all know. We're gonna throw Nick and we're gonna do the 50th. When y'all married 50 years, we need to get y'all on the show. Number one. 50s. If Nick can handle it. And then 2, we got to throw a party, bro. We're gonna throw something like shindig for the ages. Cause I'm big on that.
Silver anniversary?
Bro, I don't know what they can call it. It's platinum, bro.
Silver $1.
Silver dollars $1. Yeah, it's 100, bro. They gonna be married for 100 years.
Is it gold 100?
Bro, I don't know. I don't know, but all I know is they say married for 100 years, bro. My mouth is hurting so bad I can't even talk.
Well, the 50th episode is delayed because of your mouth. It doesn't want to play right.
Yeah. Oh, that's so funny.
Had another surgery.
Listen, if y'all stay married for 100 years, bro, we're going to throw something good.
It's going to be the greatest celebration
The problem
ever.
is we may be dead, so.
Outlive your kids, but you're celebrating 100 years married.
Yeah, I had a surgery, guys. I had surgery 4 weeks today. 4 weeks ago today, I had a surgery. I thought it wasn't going to be that big of a deal. They kind of act like that. Wasn't going to be big of a deal. They just said my jaw will be killing me. It take a month, which is a month now. They said it take a month, and then they said that we're going to do this little skin graft deal and clean everything up. And I was like, cool. When they got in there, that's not kind of what they did. They still cleaned everything up, which was pretty brutal, which they just said they cut me up good. That was the verbatim what the surgeon said. I cut you up good. I said, I appreciate it. Basically.
Sounds like a serial killer.
Basically, took my tongue, which was sitting sideways, sewn into the floor of my, kind of in the floor of my mouth. It really wasn't because it's it's like attached to the wall of my cheek to the gum line. Some of that's still sewn in there, but what they done is they cut my tongue and lifted it up and flipped it, kind of like butterfly filleted it.
Okay.
Like a chicken breast. Put it back down, clean everything up, put new skin.
Season it?
Season up. They made me super seasoning. And then they did it basically all around my tongue and lifted it up to where it's an actual tongue. It actually looks like a tongue now. Except for now, it's still swollen as all get out, like underneath it. Like it's still where the skin graft. Like I'm worried. Like not worried, like I'm up at night, but it don't look right. There's a part of it that don't look right at all. At all. So I don't know if something bad has happened to it. It almost looked like an abscess is what it looks like, but it's not painful. So I'm just chalking up a fluid. Sometimes they get like what they call fluid pockets.
Oh.
And so it could be something like that. But I go to my doctor, my oncologist, in 1st of March, the first Monday. So then I'll find out. They'll look in my mouth. They'll do all this other stuff. And so we'll know then what it is. So I'm not worried from that standpoint, but it don't look right. But I just started eating food for about a week now.
Good.
So went off the liquid diet, lost 25 pounds, and now I've gained in 1 week, most of it's water weight, probably 6-7 pounds. So really I gained, I'm not quite where I was, probably about 7 pounds off, but I'm about 203.
Good.
So I want to stay about 215 max. If I could be 215 and like strong, I think that's kind of where I would want to do.
Yeah.
So because I just have to my leg, I have some issues from the clots on my left leg. So I'd rather just be a little bit, well, it's not a little bit. That's 20 pounds lighter than I was. So I was like 238, 240. So I always hovered in that range. And sometimes I would try to lift heavy and just eat a bunch of food and lift heavy weights. And I like to be like 255. But I'm not like, wouldn't be super ripped or anything, but would be yoked as far as like strength wise and muscle mass, would have nothing but muscle mass.
Yeah.
And so, but.
Well, Matt's been through a lot. So.
I know, bro. I'm still here though.
Yep.
So,
still able to talk.
Hey,
that's good.
I'm glad because 2 weeks ago I couldn't do anything really. My mouth was really bad, but it's weird.
Well, for those maybe new, because I mean, I'm hearing from people all the time just starting listening.
Yeah.
And they're kind of going through the episodes. And somebody was telling me the other day they were kind of binging some of our episodes and sound like they were kind of new, very complimentary and very kind in their words to us. And so for those that don't know the full story for Shane, you can go back to actually one of our bonus episodes where he shares his story and kind of what went on with the cancer that he had. And speaking of that, we have several other bonus episodes. So really we're beyond 50 episodes. And a lot of podcasts don't get here, but really it's the listeners why we are here.
Yep, 100%.
I think after a while, if we started with about 10 and dropped down to about 2, we would be like, is it really worth it?
That's right.
We can have these conversations and not have to do all the setup and, mess with Carell's schedule and all that type stuff because he puts in a lot in editing it. And so, and that's really before we get into any discussion, I just want to express my gratitude to the listeners, to those who have helped us along the way, those who have come in for an interview. We hope to interview more people. It's just been hard over the last several months with the treatment and not even knowing kind of schedule-wise what was going to work out with different surgeries and recovery. And so once we get a good, path forward and know we're going to be consistent, I would love to be able to get some more guests in. But really, we are here. We've had many guests come in and been able to interview some guys and talk to them, hear their story, get some insight. I got to see Daddy Mike the other day.
Yeah.
He and his wife came and worshiped with us during the snow and the ice, and I guess then it was supposed to be snow, so we had a Friday night service, and they came in, and Miss Connie, and so that was cool to be able to have them with us and to meet Connie. And
He's awesome.
Then, so I'm grateful for our listeners, those who have tuned in, new and the OGs from the beginning, our guest as well, Carell. Like, people don't know how much time he's gotten it down to, I think, a science now, much better. In the early days, I mean, I felt bad. He was spending hours, but he wanted to, he was, wanting to make sure it was perfect. And then we just kind of were talking. It's like, hey, if there's some it's natural. Like, we're not trying to be super professional.
Yeah.
We're not making money off of this. We've not made one dime off of this. So, the time that Carell puts in every time we have an episode to edit it and get it, ready for us to post is just, has helped us be here. So I'm just extremely grateful that we've made it this far,
Yep, and I would say ditto to that. Super grateful. Didn't think we'd be here. Honestly, I really didn't even know. I didn't see that far down the line. Grateful for Carell, puts all that work in. He don't get paid. Listeners, and we get people all the time. You know who you are. You send text messages and Facebook inboxes to us all the time, saying just how beneficial it was, and it really keeps us going, because we know that a little bit of wisdom that we do have, like, we can share it and really try to inspire people and really to be better men. And I know that I was at my doctor's the other week, and I had my, and if you may be listening, I had my doctor, and he just looked at me and he said, "What is, I noticed your hat, I noticed your shirt." And I was wearing my Male Cartel stuff, the hoodie. You can buy it online right now. It's chilly. It's kind of warm right now, but it's going to get back chilly. So
false spring.
It happens every year. It gets you sick is what happens. And so then your hat, and then we just started talking, man. And you may be listening right now, but that was a pretty cool moment. I usually get that probably, it's at least once a week.
Yeah.
So I make sure I wear some merch. People are always asking. So anyways, but just say thank you, 50. It's a big deal, man. So what do we have on our show today? Well, we have a lot that we missed, like Super Bowl #1. Falcons wasn't in it. So, but it was another bird, though. Another bird was in it, the Hawks.
Yep.
So, and they won. But I wasn't wanting them. I wanted the Patriots to win. So,
I mean, I kind of had a joke with when you said what little wisdom we had. I was going to say, you're the whiz and I'm the dumb.
Wisdom.
Anyway.
What's funny, guys, is like Nick and I combined, we make a really awesome guy combined. We would be really good combined.
Yeah.
Like, if you can merge us, we'd be pretty good.
Yeah.
Separated, we're just like below average, probably. I would think, like, I don't think that high of myself, like, but I would say, I think, did I tell you this? Was it on an episode? I can't remember now. But somebody was asking me and said, if you can have people come with you, like, on a mission trip, like, who would be, like, the people that you know? I was like, oh, man, that's easy money. Drew Hall and Nick Carnes. Us three, because three, three is a special number.
Yeah.
Dale Earnhardt wore 3.
Mm-hmm. 25 year. This Daytona 500 on Sunday was 25 years.
25 years with Dale.
Died. Yeah.
So 3 is a special number, right? So, but I think, like, if it was us 3, there's nothing we can't do. Honestly, mission trip wise, we would be like,
get robbed,
gunpoint shot at, but we wouldn't even care. We laugh. we would be in jail. There's that meme or something that said that, have that one friend that if you're in prison and then the person who's like kidnapped you has a lisp the whole time that they're like dogging out their kidnap. That's like us. We could be arrested for holding us hostage, and then the person who's doing it has a lisp. We would be cracking jokes and roasting them while we're in hostage situation. We'd find something to laugh at,
They'd give us 100. They actually might let us out because they'd be so
That's
tired.
Right. Either that or just go ahead and kill
shut
us.
these people.
Just kill us or something. Because if you got shot first, I probably would roast you. Especially if they missed and hit your knee or something. I'd be like, oh no. They didn't miss
Just
you, bro.
cripple me.
They just crippled you, bro. You ain't gonna be doing it. We would just roast everybody.
I would just keep roasting him though about shooting like a girl.
That's right.
And then, it would just keep going.
That's why I can relate to Paul way better than Peter. Because Peter missed the whole face, bro. He missed the whole human. Peter in the Bible, he swings his nice sword or whatever you want to say and hit somebody, cut a dude's ear off, bro.
We don't know everything about Peter. He could have been blind in one eye.
Bro, I'm like, Peter, bro. You got that's how we know the Bible's correct. One of the reasons, because I wouldn't put that in there about me, bro. I'll be honest with you. I wouldn't. I'd be like, listen, y'all got to leave this thing out.
Jesus, can we leave?
Y'all got to leave this out, bro. Just be generalized with it. Say I hit them and Jesus healed them. Don't say that I chopped their ear off.
I see, that makes me want to now go study that and see if is that just in John, or is it just in Matthew? Sometimes some things are just in one gospel. I wonder if it's just in John, because remember John outran Peter,
and then he started throwing shade, bro.
That's what I wonder if John threw that in there to be like, oh boy, couldn't even cut his head off. He got his ear.
Well, they said the disciples were young, but they said John was the youngest, right? Isn't that right? Historically, if I remember correctly, it was like John's the youngest, but people always say that they were teenagers. But every picture they wearing beards. But they have family. Well, they're Jews. I get it, but maybe they taking TRT. Maybe they got facial hair like that. I don't know, bro. Anyway, it's all a mystery. It's all crazy. It's fun to think about though. But he missed the whole human, bro. And I lost a lot of respect with him about that. Listen, I'll cut him some slack.
Maybe they were big ears. We don't know how big those ears were. They could have been like Dumbo ears.
Bro, listen, I'll cut him some slack. I cut him some slack about the rooster stuff, because he's kind of in the bind. But the ear, I'm like, bro, you got to know how to fight, man. You got to be capable. He needed to listen to our podcast about what episode's only about being a capable man, a dangerous man. He needs to listen to that episode.
Episode 1 was being a dangerous man.
When we get to heaven one day, we're going to sit down and have a conversation with Peter. Be like, bro, you need to go back and listen to Male Cartel.
You know what Peter's going to say, though?
What are you going to say?
Jesus said, if you didn't have a sword, sell your cloak and go buy one. He didn't say train.
Oh, that's funny. That's so true.
He's like, if Jesus would have just if he would have just let me go to the range and practice.
But wouldn't he know jujitsu, right?
I don't know.
Right? Jujitsu, you get it? He's a
jujitsu.
Yeah, that's a dad joke.
There you go.
All right. I'm done. I'm done with dad jokes. So.
Well, I do appreciate, just back to the text, we try to share those when we get them. But people don't realize in 50 episodes, because we try to post stuff as well on our social medias, we've taken some heat on some of our views and stances. And so to then somebody actually referenced that, hey, I know you took some heat for this, but that post inspired me to get my health going in the right direction or whatever. So those text messages, the private text messages and conversations, we appreciate those as well, because we look at that and go, hey, it's worth taking the heat over because we help inspire someone. Unfortunately, we couldn't inspire Peter to know how to use a sword, but we have helped guys and inspired them, and that has meant a lot to me, just to know, hey, this has made a difference. This podcast is making a difference. It has made a difference, and it is worth, what time we've put into it.
I think the whole, what you just said, man, is so true. Because it does. I do have my convictions, and so do you. And we really are. We do try to sort through our convictions and not be in an arrogant way. We want to be humble. Yet, we want to be biblical men, and you don't want to just be one-sided or think one way or whatever. You just want to be, just in concrete, standing on the foundation, which is right, and stand for your convictions and sort through our convictions, and knowing that it's not just emotionalism and we're just like falling through that trap, because it would be easy to do just to get on a hot topic. But when we are convicted and stuff, and we really feel strongly about it, majority of those things we have caught, like you said, a lot of heat. Especially if we post on social media, it catches a lot of heat. And at the same time, they're just very grateful for y'all. Nick's 100% correct in that like you get those and then you're like, you start doubting a little bit. Maybe I do. So I'm more like Thomas in the Bible and like start doubting, like, I wonder, should I just stop? But I've been more resolved ever since Charlie Kirk passed away to stand firm on like, even like when it comes to like mental health or even working out and being in shape, and stuff. And I'm just really convicted in those areas. I just feel strongly about them. And I feel like they're just like, they're not an open hand issue. I think there's a closed hand issues that we address that, but back in your mind, you just wonder, it'd be easier just not talk about it. You know what I mean? Because we are pastors too, so it's not like we just work at 7-Eleven. And so we do have a lot of influence. And so just want to make sure that we're up and up. So I appreciate it when we are, and you feel strongly about it, and then you get a really encouraging message, and you go, man, that was really cool.
Right.
Yeah. All right.
Because you don't know who's reading. It's usually the silent majority who isn't saying something.
That's right.
And those are the things you don't know unless they voice it. But that is a good segue. And I wanted to wait to the show because 50th, episode talking about convictions and values. And I think that's a good time to announce. I have a big announcement, everybody, that I'm retiring from this podcast because I have become a male feminist. And so,
dang,
now my new values, I cannot continue.
What's a male feminist?
It is someone who supports the equality and equal rights of women and fights against the patriarchy of manhood.
Yeah, oh, man.
I think women should run the world. Should run the whole world. Men, it's time for men to take a step back.
Be the lazy boy.
And to be letting the women lead.
Let them lead, and then you can just sit in your lazy boy and not do anything. Yeah.
Let my wife work for me.
Well, she is an author, though.
She is. I'm waiting for the big money to come in.
Hey, we bringing her in. She's on a speaking tour right now, so she's about to make a stop next month.
I've been watching a guy now is popping up on my algorithm where he debates people, and he's been debating guys who are like male feminists and stuff like that, and it's hilarious. It's
you need to send it to me. I'll enjoy that type of stuff.
Yeah, it's funny. I'm not.
He's not. That was a joke. Yeah. That was a joke. Don't get all bent out of shape.
Power to the patriarchy.
But there is something about that. How do you want to start today's episode? Because it's a lot to this.
Well, what we were talking about, I mean, even like going back to the Super Bowl and to some recent events, we just in our texting back and forth discussed the craziness, I guess you would say, when it comes to speech. And at the end of the day, that's why we started this podcast, because we wanted to share our voice and our view on things when it came to manhood and men being men and things like that. And it's hilarious. It's somewhat hilarious, but it's also troubling to see some of the stuff going around and how people respond when you simply are just using your voice.
Yeah.
And it's from all sides of things. It's from Christianity all the way into cultural, political, you name it. And you mentioned just the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
From a few weeks ago.
The Bad Bunny stuff.
The Bad Bunny stuff. And this is what I found, and I don't know, probably just, it might be a hodgepodge of just stuff, but around the same theme. But one of the things I found interesting, someone was challenging you as to like why you had an issue with the Bad Bunny or whatever. I saw some comment.
Yeah.
I find it interesting. No one I didn't see one comment going to people who were praising the halftime show, going, why did you like it? Why did you like that and not watch this other? Or why are you watching? There's this expectation that if you don't support something, you have to answer to that.
Yeah.
You've got to give your reasons why. You have to explain it and have to have a valid reason. If not, I'm going to argue with you and I'm going to tell you why you should. And it makes me think about the peer pressure that we always tell people, because I've had guys ask me stuff like drinking alcohol or whatever. And I've shared before, I don't believe drinking alcohol is a sin. I believe that being drunk is a sin. I choose personally for myself. I don't touch it. I don't drink it. A lot of alcoholism in my family, things like that. But I also don't say you're wrong, you're a sinner if you do. And so, but I'll have people kind of put back, well, why don't you drink? And it's like, I don't go, why do you drink? I don't expect an expectation from you. I'm just like, if you choose to and I don't feel like it's wrong, then okay, fine.
Yep.
That's your choice.
Yep.
But there's this mentality that if you do anything countercultural or you do anything against what certain people think or believe, you got to give an explanation as to why you chose to watch maybe the TPUSA show versus the Bad Bunny show. And I just find it interesting that there's this mentality that if you take any opposing view than certain people, somehow you've got to give them a valid reason why that's okay for you to do that.
Well, it on that post, all I said was the beginning. I wound up taking it down, and it wasn't because of that, but the post was, I just said, good job, Turning Point USA, that we loved it, and I loved that I didn't have to turn my boys' eyes over. And so it gets incredibly annoying that my wife, who, if you don't know my wife's very modest, and she just says anything that comes on TV, like my boys are trained, turn the eyes, and so it's got where it's almost impossible, with ads, whatever. We just hit the mute button and whatever. But we, it just gets it where it's annoying for Super Bowls to turn our heads, more the visual than the listening, because my boys don't know all those words.
Especially in Spanish.
If it's in Spanish, it don't make a difference. They really don't understand.
Right.
Like, they just don't understand. So it's not a big deal, the word. It is, but it isn't. And they are around football teams and stuff like that. So this year this fall, they've heard every cuss word imaginable. And then we've talked through it, and I've led them well. I feel like I've done a good job leading them. But the only thing I do good. And so we're having those conversations, and so that's been okay. But the comment was just that my post was about how it was a good job, and I even gave him my explanation that I didn't have to turn it over. I was I was proud. The word I used was proud, and that's when I had that people commenting, and I wound deleting it after several posts. People posting. I went back and forth trying to explain myself, and then I started thinking, why am I explaining myself? I should have said cool. And then I felt like I had to, because people look at my page. I mean, there's a lot of folks that do it. I get a lot of inboxes. Anything that goes like that, my inbox gets filled up. People.
Yeah.
I saw this, but they're not commenting on the post. So it has me thinking all the time about what I do post. That's why I do more stories than anything on Instagram, because I just know that people, they're not going to send me an inbox off of something. They'll see it or not like it. They don't even see my story. But if it's on their algorithm, it'll pop up. But it was that, and I just said, you know what? It ain't worth me wake up in the morning with 60 messages and then some people defending me or church people, and it just turns into a big stink because somebody said something to somebody, and I was like, I'm just going to delete it before bed. And I did before bed, and I was better. I didn't think anything about it the next day, But you're right, dude. You feel like you have to give an explanation. And then I have recently posted a Josh, Howardson about the Bad Bunny thing, because I thought it was a perfect take. I actually posted both of those reels, and I thought those were like perfect because it really was my sentiment. I didn't know what was happening. You and I were texting, and then we saw what I didn't watch, which was obviously girls booty dancing, and then guys grinding on each other.
Right.
And then we would listen to the lyrics, and you look at like the TP USA, you had Bradley Gilbert on it, right? He's probably the roughest one on there. And he starts off with riding the dirt road, swerving like George Jones, smoke rolling down the window, ice cold beer in the console. For me, when I listened to that, I grew up riding dirt roads, my family, and then they would drink a Budweiser or something like that and ride the dirt roads. They wouldn't drive like in the city, but they just go riding the dirt roads out in the country. Literally like 3 miles from the house, out in the country, middle of nowhere in Waynesboro. And if you don't know what Waynesboro is, I mean, it's like the country. 2-lane highway, ain't nobody out there. Period. You got to worry about cows crossing the street. And they just hit dirt road.
2-lane highways, and then you got the dirt roads, which
That's
are
right.
It's virtually
nothing. It's just tractors.
Nothing.
And so I have nothing against people who smoke cigarettes, even though I don't like it. And I wouldn't listen to the song implied that was smoking marijuana. It was just like smoking cigarettes. That's how I took it.
Well, now it'd be like a vape.
Have
you seen how much smoke comes out of one of those machines?
Vape smells so terrible too. It's the worst. I want you to smoke Marlboro Lights.
You're like, is that truck on fire inside?
Right? That's so crazy. But I took it like that, and so I didn't think anything about it. And then the Kid Rock, I knew metaphorically when Ozzy came out with the song, and he was lip singing it, and then he would chime in like I'm like an MC. I said, what is he doing? He's too old for this. And then when it shifted to the string instruments, it was a hymn. I went, oh, I like this. I know he's going to come back out and do something about like Jesus or something to show the transformation, because that's what I would have done. And he did. And I was like, bro, I called it. And I just thought it was really appropriate, and I thought it was cool. I liked it. Whenever I tell my story to people, it's PG-13. My past. I don't sugarcoat anything. I kind of lay it out. I don't really tell children stuff, my story. I was dead, now I'm alive in Christ, that type of thing. But my testimony, it's usually PG-13. And if I'm being really honest, I could be very graphic with things that I've experienced, things that I've seen. And so it's not going to sound pretty. It's not going to, I don't think I've done ever really my testimony from the stage and been very, very raw and transparent. But like, that's what I kind of like looked at it from that angle. But again, my sons couldn't understand the words, so it didn't make a difference with my children. But I didn't have to turn their heads for booty dancing, and so two guys grinded me. I have to explain that to my sons. So I appreciate that. And so
the problem is also though the scenery. There was certain scenery. It was cool, looked like cornfield. That.
Oh yeah, sugar cane.
But the problem is in that they mixed in, and part of the concern was that he was going to be wearing a dress and stuff. To me, I believe it's even a little more sinister because, and there were people that enjoyed it, but if you get into the actual songs that he sang and he cleaned up with Bad Bunny, if it's like, okay, well, let me go now listen to the actual full song.
Oh yeah, it's
then
terrible.
You're right. You're now opened up to it's that soft pedaling. It's like what Rob Bell did years ago with mainstream. He kind of came in mainstream Christianity, and then he took it into the progressive side of things. And in the same way, like he kept things somewhat, dressed appropriately and all that, but then it mixed into the Americana view. It was men grinding on men, sexual acts being portrayed through dance moves and all of that. And yet, you couldn't say anything ill against that because then you're being racist or whatever accusations were being thrown at you. And that's the problem. And I believe that is the larger problem, which is what I kind of shared with you, is that tribalism around speech, around any kind of speech. And for those that don't know, because I know the term is used, I wanted to actually read what one definition of tribalism is. It is the intense loyalty to a social group, what would be called a tribe, characterized by a strong us versus them mentality where in-group interests are prioritized over others. So I think that what you see is there's, it was already kind of being portrayed as Bad Bunny was representing something that, anti-ICE or, pro, not pro-immigration, but pro essentially open borders and everybody's included and welcome and all of this. So you've got the people who are supporting that politically going, you've got to support Bad Bunny or you
That's right.
oppose these views. And it's tribalism. You've got to be fully in this tribe or else you are wrong or bad or racist or whatever, prejudice, whatever accusations, want to be thrown. And so I think, and I'll get your thought on this. I just wrote out a few things like when it comes to tribalism, especially when it comes to speech, that I think tribalism kills civility. So this is what I mean by that. You can't say anything about X. It could be President Trump. It could be President Obama. It could be whatever. You can't say anything about a person without approving fully of everything that person has ever said or done. So if I say anything civil about that person, anything nice, well, you must think this is okay. So for instance, you say TPUSA's thing was better. Well, you must agree with everything that Kid Rock is ever saying or done.
And that would be false. Yep.
Right.
Yep.
Or someone might say, I might go, I thought the set was awesome, very creative with Bad Bunny. Oh, did you see what Bad Bunny's lyrics were and what he...
Oh, yeah.
I just said I thought the set was very creative and cool, So tribalism ruins civility because we can't say anything nice about one person without fully supporting what they agree with, believe in, they say, they sing, whatever. So tribalism, when it comes in that form, kills our ability to be civil towards one another, to just be good towards one another. What's your thoughts?
Oh, my first thought, even when you were saying that, was I was just thinking about the recent stuff with, Jesse Jackson, when he just passing away. And I know it was years ago I spoke out, and I actually like Jesse Jackson from the standpoint that I really do feel like in our country there was a pivotal moment where racial was a serious thing. Obviously, it was always been serious, but obviously we know the whole merging and everything in the 60s and the schools and all the tension that was there. But as somebody who grew up in the early 80s, I remember how things were. But I remember always seeing Jesse Jackson because we didn't have Martin Luther King. He's been passed away for 20 years at that point or something like that. But I remember I appreciated that even, and when I got a chance to know who he was, when he had the affair, I didn't like that.
Yeah.
And it bothered me. But I always appreciated him to pushing it. And so I'm a pushing racial reconciliation and wanting things to be kind of what I would consider honest. I don't know him or anything, but just from what I've seen, And so but I felt like even when you were saying that, literally when he passed away, I remember thinking, should I post something about him? Because I always kind of liked him. I believe that he had some character flaws for sure.
Sure.
And things that I desire not to have. But he did a lot of good, but I didn't even want to post anything without acknowledging that he did these good things and these bad things combined. Because if I was one-sided, like what you're saying, I would take heat. I know for a fact I would. And I just
because people would go, well, do you know he did this? Do you know he said? And it's like,
so I posted something on my story, and it just had it was from a Twitter account, and it just it said all the good stuff, and then it added that he fathered a kid, and I was like, I'm just going to do this because I feel like, this doesn't sum it up, but I like Jesse Jackson, but I disagree with some of his character stuff.
Sure.
That's like Martin Luther King. I really appreciate all the stuff that he's done, and I grew up being a huge Martin Luther King guy. But more I've learned over the years, literally since college.
Right.
When I was in college, I was a history minor. And when I got into, it was pre and post Civil War. When I had to take post Civil War, we spent a lot of time talking about segregation and all this other stuff. Well, MLK's going to show up on the scene. And we actually went 2 years ago in February, went by in Atlanta. And that was a big deal for us to take our kids there and to the museum and all that. We didn't go in the museum, but we're standing outside of the church and we did all this other stuff. It was just pretty cool. But socialism and other stuff that he like, I don't think that you would never see me like not want to honor him on MLK Day. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and everybody has their different views, but in my home, we talk about it. We talk about, segregation and all this other stuff. And my kids, we homeschool. So it's like, it's part of what we do. But I'm also very real and say, hey, I do believe that there was a needle that had moved in socialism and some other stuff that I really don't like about it. And then obviously there's the affairs and things that are hush-hush about it. But you can't say nothing because of, like you said, like tribalism. And it's the same thing with Trump. I like Trump's policies. Like I believe closed borders. There's things that I really agree. But if I said something negative about Trump, my family would they'd be at my house. They would like totally destroy me. Like, cause they're all like in that tribe. Like there's like Trump is like he's the savior, not Jesus, but like he is like close to being that guy, and then they think I'm gonna paint my hair purple and pink.
But you'd gain new friends who now are in a.
They think I'm in the boat with them.
Right.
That was the comment that said, "I didn't know you was one of them."
Right.
That was on that thing. So it's like, so did you think that I was like a certain way?
Us versus them, and so
that goes back to the comment. That was in the
going
comment.
back to Trump. I opposed him when he first took office. Then he got into office. I did a write-in vote because of the character issues. Then got into office and did what he said he was going to do. Yep. Economy was going great. Immigration was moving in the right direction. All that before COVID. I did not agree with some of the things he did with COVID. However, he did what he said he was going to do. There were no, stuff with interns and stuff that happened in the 90s. And so it's like, okay, while he might have had a past, he's not shown that in office. I'm going to support him for re-election. And yet I believe in calling balls and strikes. I've said it before when people like Obama were in office. And I say him because in the 90s, I was a teenager with Bill Clinton. I had my views, but I was also a teenager and limited in my understanding of politics and things like that. But when it came to like Obama, I'm an adult now. I've got a better understanding. I would watch headlines say things about him that you would go watch the video for yourself, and it's not what the headlines portray.
Yeah, that's right.
Now, did I agree with him going after nuns over not pro-choice, but the pro-life issues? And absolutely not. I opposed him on a lot of things. But there were times I would go, all right, y'all are wrong because you're trying to say he is saying this or doing this, and he didn't. The tribalism, trying to find anything I can twist this. And now you got people making comments about things he never did, and then they're mimicking it. Well, that happens on all sides. So I have been very fair at calling balls and strikes. So when he posted the thing about the Obamas, it was wrong.
Oh yeah, you
it was completely wrong. Yep. Now, what does that mean? He is a complete racist? No, I don't think so. If you go look at his post about Jesse Jackson, very positive. At the same time, I think he despises the Obamas. It was a racist act in that moment. People can do things that, hey, that's racist. It doesn't make them a complete racist against an entire people. I spoke out about it and had a lot of people agree on my political side of the aisle. Others on the other political side of the aisle. Some might be like, oh, welcome. We've been waiting for you to come to our side. I wasn't taking a political stance. I was taking a moral stance. But then I had a man late into Saturday night and into early Sunday morning coming after me. I thought you were a man of God, and how can you speak against the greatest president ever, and all this different stuff. And when I tried to have a civil conversation with him, he didn't want to hear it. And even just simply going, where do you get this? Because I said one thing was wrong, you've made him an idol. And he did not want to hear it. And so I ended up blocking him because it was just ridiculous. It's like, what are you trying to accomplish?
Yeah.
But because I said a man did something wrong, I'm all of a sudden now not a man of God, not a Christian, and this whole tribal mentality ruins civility to where you can't go, hey man, that was wrong.
Yep.
Do better. Or hey, this person who I normally wouldn't agree with was right. That's why I liked, and I reshared Jerry Falwell Jr.'s post.
I saw it.
I don't fully agree with Jerry Falwell Jr. and the things that he's been caught up in. However, I know his dad seemingly was a good man. He was a pastor. And so he had good things to say about Jesse Jackson, things I wouldn't have known, that shows a character that existed that often we don't see today. There's not the civility of where they might be on different sides of the aisle and they would be having a debate on CNN or something like that, but then they had a friendship. And you don't get to see that. And today we don't see that a lot. We see just tearing apart one another. So I think tribalism today ruins civility, and it's something we need to get back to, and just don't care like what you think. If I say something nice about someone you don't like politically or socially or whatever, I think we should have the mindset of like, what is good about this person I could say, especially in their death. This person's died. Their family's grieving. Is this the time I go rake them through the mud and make all their wrongs known? Or is there something good I could say about that person that could go, man, rest in peace. I know people are going to miss this person. They at least did this thing well. Not adding at least, but
That's right.
they did this well.
Well, I tell my kids all the time, I always say, that we talk about like an experience that they have, especially within that experience that they're dealing with people. They know for one bad thing or one shade or something negative that they're throwing out, that I need 5 positives. My children are not allowed to whine to me or talk ill or bad about someone unless there could be 5 positives. And so now we can talk it out, if it's a bad situation like drama, but if they're just like venting and like poking fun, they know that the first thing I hear, I don't want to hear how somebody did you wrong. Like, and how they're just terrible, because what they'll do is you'll beat it to death. You'll make it like meat tenderizer, you'll beat the snot out of it. And like, I'm just not a fan of that. So I'd rather just hear some positive about that. Now, if they're a snake and it's just a little bit different, you call it what it is. If it's evil, you call evil evil. Like you say, balls and strikes. And so that's why I have a problem with people on social media, not even social media, because I know that they do this in real life too. I mean, I see this often, where if I disagree with you, then you can just unfollow me. Or like, I'm not friends with this person anymore because they did this one thing. And so I know there was friends, like when you brought up Trump and stuff, like when that became, somebody asked me like, who'd you vote for? And I'll say it on the air, like I voted for Trump. And they said, that was it, man. Like they kept me at arm's distance.
Yep.
And these are people that I used to sit with and talk through like racial stuff and other things like that. And it's like, I don't think bad of you. Like I've always thought, I always think that Popeyes is the best chicken joint. And one of my good friends is owner and operator of a Chick-fil-A. And like, I'm not dogging out Chick-fil-A.
You're just saying.
I'm just saying that I prefer this. I'm not a big pizza guy. I would eat pasta over pizza. But like, I know people who love pizza, or sushi, There's just things that I enjoy, but I'm not throwing it all out like baby with the bathwater type of thing. But there just that I think you can have. You and I both have friends that we just don't agree with a lot of stuff, and I have friends, things that I hold valuable. There's some things that they don't value. Obviously, morality they do, but like there's some things that I just, from a stewardship angle, that we just don't. Now that may mean that I can't go be buddy with them.
Right.
Because we just live in 2 different time zones, if you will, as far as financially and things that I agree with and things but they're still my friend.
Yeah.
And if they'll reach out and they've sent me messages about cancer and gift cards and like, they're a friend. I consider when they're down and out, I pray for them too and all that. But I'm not going to cancel them because there's a few things that we disagree on.
Yeah.
I just think that's weird, man.
Well, with you saying that, I actually saved this post so I could bring highlight to it. Something I was already going to kind of mention, because that is what tribalism kind of does, is it ruins good debate and really free speech. And so this one order post was going around. It's being shared a lot by several people that I'm connected with. And the post said something about, where is your line for the Christians who are silent right now? And of course, is very leaning towards one political viewpoint. And it highlights things that have been debunked. And that's a whole other issue when it comes to having conversation, especially when people have believed headlines that have been skewed and edited and things like that. And now they're telling you, oh, so-and-so did this. And you're like, that's not true. But they don't want to talk about it. I've sent people video clips and articles, and they respond so quick. You're like, you had no time to actually go research what I'm telling you. You just have your viewpoint, and you don't want anything to change that. But they were sharing this one post, what is your line? And I'm just reading this, not going to say the person's name or call them out. I'm not even really pointing them out. But this was being shared multiple times. And once again, I think it goes to tribalism. Oh, this person said that. Now I need to share it, and I need to say the same thing, because really I want to be accepted by those people. I want to be liked by those people. And so therefore, if you don't support this, I'm not going to be liked by those people. So I need to now reject you because they're watching.
Yeah.
So this person said, I have been silent a lot. And this was the same theme that was being shared. So I just screenshotted this one. I have been silent a lot. That is changing. Unfriend me if you must. And they shared this Jenna Kutcher's post. Well, when you go just a couple of posts up to this same lady who posted the original thing, who you might disagree with, you might agree with, she posted this. Here's one thing you'll never see me do. Tell you to unfollow me if we disagree. So you have people sharing her posts going, you can unfollow me if you don't agree, and you can unfollow me if you disagree, so on and so forth. And the very person who posted that post says, you'll never see me tell someone to unfollow if they disagree. So they're sharing something from someone who they don't even fully agree with, but because of tribalism, they're taking this hard stance. Oh yeah, I'm drawing a line in this. It's virtue signaling. And it's like, you would rather lose a true friendship of someone that you might know in real life over a difference of opinion because you don't want to have a debate over it, or you don't want to be exposed to the truth or a different point of view. You would rather go unfollow me, basically cut ties with me because we disagree on some political or social issue. It is a sickness that is ruining, I think, our country that is built on free speech, but it's ruining relationships. It causes division.
Yeah, I agree 100%. We've seen that over the years with the churches. I have a lot of friends of mine that are some Methodist brothers and Church of God and Assemblies, and I have friends that are across the board, Southern Baptist, and whatnot. And like, there's some guys that just will not really associate with you because they believe a certain thing, and I believe it's a open hand issue, and they believe it from a theological standpoint, and they believe it's a closed hand issue. It's just how we do church, and that's caused a lot of divisions. And I've had friends of mine that would just walk away. Now I do have somebody who used to be a friend of mine. It's the same situation, but their issue was a closed hand issue. And it was like, and then their integrity and their morality and all that stuff. And I could be linked to that. And that's a little bit different. That's not what we're talking about. But I know for the sake of people, you have to I can love them and not give them access to me. And so that's kind of the best way to do it. And so you kind of feel like but it was kind of like a slow drift that they had. But I've seen that play out. And I just wish that the men we would lead in that area, especially if you have a spouse. You know, you can lead your spouse in that area, and just not maybe they need to get off of social media if they just can't be nice, or you know.
Saying that though, do you see that from men more or from women?
Women, for sure, women. But I hold some of them, when I say men responsible, I'm saying the husbands. If you're a husband, I hold you responsible for your wife. And it's just, if your wife is unruly, she's like off the chain, that is your job. I mean, like, I'm not saying that I'm not married to your wife, so I'm married to mine, and I know how mine is. And so I know where I can look at my wife, and if you're a husband, you can listen to this. You know this as well, that I know my wife. I know where I need to get her usually from A to, like, let's say A to the H or G or whatever in the alphabet. I know where the process I have to get to the point. And there are going to be things spiritually that I cannot do. I'm going to have to pray for her and put her in the best possible position so she can hear the voice of God and the Spirit would work, and pray. And I know I can't do the rest. She has to do that. That's between her and the Lord. But there are things that I can do practically to get her. What I don't feel like good leadership is if I just yank it, because she's not a child. I can't force her to go from there. But I can lead her. And so I know that what gets my wife's attention, it may mean that Shane has to sacrifice. I mean, Shane has to be more intentional. That means that Shane has to do all these things. And oftentimes, just speaking of me, especially when I was young in marriage or more immature, there's things I was just tired. I just wouldn't want to put the work in. Now that I'm older and I have children and I want to be, the best marriage possible, I go look and go, doggone it, man, marriage is tough. Because you're just like slowly becoming very small, and God becomes very big, and you have to do this in your marriage. And then I have to be very, very intentional. I have to lead. And whenever I see that my family, there's like an issue, I promise you, like it usually goes to me. I'm usually the problem. Something I didn't do, something I was passive about, or if it's something else too aggressive. That's the aggressive me. When I mean that, give you an example. It'd be like foolish of me to go and try to bench 400 pounds right now. It should be aggressive in the gym. Be foolish. I'd be a fool. Who's gonna get hurt? Me and anybody that's near me, because I can't do that no more. But like don't be a fool in that. Like I have to be smarter than that. And so I know that it ain't gonna help the situation. But so when I say hold men accountable, that's what I mean. I mean, like, if you have a spouse, you really need to like hone that in that, and you need to know what your wife is kind of posting and like that. But and then
at least be engaged and not disengaged.
That's a good
because you don't
word. Engaged. That's a good word.
You don't want to because it could cause a tension moment and maybe a disagreement or an argument. Well, I'm just not going to say anything. If you notice something that needs to be addressed, then you have to be willing to have that conversation. And I think the problem is most guys are just like, I'd rather avoid drama than to engage and have a tough conversation.
That is the bulk.
Doesn't mean she's going to fully agree with you, and doesn't mean you're going to end up on the same page, but at least you did your role in pointing out this is an issue, or do you see this as an issue for these reasons, and try to help them to see that. I think a lot of our issues with some of this whole stuff when it comes around speech and things is we, just like with the LGBTQ community, what culture has said is if you have a temptation towards homosexuality, then that is your identity. You are gay, you are lesbian, you are transgender, whatever. And so now if I come along and go, here's what God's design for you is, here's what your identity is, here's God's design for marriage and sex and all of that and his boundaries.
Yeah.
Now you're speaking against that individual because you've made that the person's identity. So now if you relate that to politics and everything else, then what has happened is people have made that their identity.
Sure.
This is who I belong to.
Yeah.
This is what we believe. Now, if you come along and go, hey, and that's why whether it be Trump or whether it be some other politician on the other side of the aisle, if that's my person, that I've so identified myself with that person. Now, if I speak against that person, then you're or a policy or a behavior. Now you're speaking against that person, and you're speaking against me. You're attacking me. And so I think that's a danger, because our identity is we're created in the image and likeness of God. We are first and foremost a created being of God. And then it comes into other things like male, female. As Christians, we are a child of God. That's our identity, not the things we do, not the things we say, not even our nationality, not our ethnicity, not our color. And that's, I think, where we have a lot of division, because now you're talking about me.
Yeah.
I take this personal because that's how I see myself, and that's who I see myself. So I think that's a huge issue that I don't know what the solution is other than pointing people back to their true identity. And I guess that would be my encouragement to people is like, don't build your identity and who you are based on any political party, based on your race, nationality, ethnicity, any of that. Your identity is you are made in the image and likeness of God. That's who you are. All this other stuff is external, and you can be passionate about it, but not to the point that you're dividing with people, unless it's an issue that needs to be divided on. There are some people I will not associate with because they are snakes. If they were to die today, I could say they were a good father. I could at least say that. There are things I could not say, and I would not say out of integrity. But at the same time, I don't have to be ugly.
That's right.
I can at least say, hey, this person was a good husband and a good father from what I see. Or I don't have to say anything at all.
That's right.
And that's, I think, the other thing is people, well, you should be speaking out on this. It's my social media platform. I don't want it to be a protest site. Like, my whole life could be just protesting everything. I'll use it for what I want to use it for.
That's exactly right.
And I think that's it's that virtue signaling. Well, you've got to speak out on this. You got to speak up on this. And it's like, I think that's a problem.
Dude, you know what's so funny, though? Is that I can post about my kids. I put a post last night even about Daisy. She got the golden
cheerleading
night. Yeah, cheerleading. And she voted on by, there's only one award that was given.
Nice.
And Daisy got the award that was voted on by her coaches. And we do that same thing. It's called the Golden Knight Award, the Golden Helmet. And that's like the best player. So my Daisy got an award at cheerleading, first year doing it. It was awesome. Super proud of her. Even more proud of all the conversations that she has had with girls who are far from the Lord and how God has used her. I'm more proud about that. Cheerleading thing is cool, I guess. But like the Jesus stuff, her being salt and light, I'm over the moon about that, man. That's like my heart. Like literally, that's like she's cooking, And so yeah, so like people who jump on my thing, they'll jump on my social media, won't like an image of my children, don't say nothing positive about my children. But if I say anything about anything else, they will try to come in and just start arguments. And like that is just the craziest thing. And I usually call them out. The last few years I've called them out. Hey, I noticed you don't comment on this,
right?
And they usually don't say nothing else after that. They usually just doesn't. They'll send me an inbox. Well, I just saw it today. It's like, man, I posted 7 pictures of my children, and you didn't like any 7 of them, but I do this, and then you see it. So how's that? In the last 3 days, I posted 7 pictures of my children and this, but you saw this and didn't see. Come on now.
I think you would value their opinion on the other.
Oh yeah.
If they were more invested in you personally.
Oh yeah.
Versus like, here I am, I'm popping up to disagree.
Yep.
It's crazy, but at the same time, it is a major issue, and I think it's causing division, and we need to do better as people, but at the same time, not be held hostage. Because my biggest issue, and then I know we got to wrap up, but one of my biggest issues is this: people get so frustrated and upset emotionally, everything around political figures. I've seen that from Christians here in the last few weeks. Yet, they want people to speak up about that. And I don't understand why more Christians aren't saying this, that, or the other. Well, some of it could be because you've bought lies that not all of us see it your way, or we understand the media has misrepresented this, and we've done deeper research. So just because we did deeper research doesn't mean we need to still hold your viewpoint. At the same time, there are people getting so upset about things in the world, yet they will share videos, and I'll see them love and like things from heretical, false teachers from the church perspective. These are Christians. Now I'm talking to Christians, where the scripture talks more about danger in the church and that we need to protect the church than the world outside of the church. The biggest danger are the false teachers and the heretics that are aligning themselves with things that would be outright sinful. And you're not saying nothing about that. In fact, you're sharing it, but you're worried about a politician who has no bearing on the church. And that, to me, is a bigger issue. But I want you to say something about President Trump, or let's just throw it out there, President Obama. Yet, I'm gonna give platform to this false teacher and share his clips, and I'm not gonna be silent about that. We've got our priorities
100%, dude.
Completely crisscrossed.
Yeah, and just remember, be careful with your tongue. What comes out of your mouth is no longer your possession. Same thing on social media when you post stuff. So just think thoroughly before you say something, before you do it. Just really think through, is this beneficial? And we should post and say and do things that are beneficial, right? Ephesians talks about it, 4:29. So we should do that. And I think if you pause and you think about it, then I think we're okay. But it's usually when you just flippantly get all emotional about it, and we're not thinking, will this benefit people? Will this be beneficial for me to say? As you mentioned it several times, probably 3 or 4 times in today's episode, you say sometimes it's just good not to say nothing at all. And if that's how it is, and being respectful, then that's what you do, because then that will be beneficial,
And the other side of that is, if you're being triggered and overwhelmed by other people's posts, you can keep scrolling, or it might be time to
unfollow,
or just to get off of social media for a while.
That's exactly right.
We are not designed. I was telling a lady after church, because she was dealing with some stuff. We are not designed. God did not design us to be faced with all of this negative news and all of these things that we see that may affect us emotionally. Think about it. Years ago, when the newspaper came out, like, you had to wait for that newspaper to make it to your town, and then you had to then be told the news. Letters had to be written. Like, you didn't have it right there in front of you 24/7. We're not designed to have the weight of all this negativity, the world news, at our fingertips and being exposed to it every hour of every day. So it might be you need to get off of social media.
I love it. That's a great ending right there.
At least for a time.
Yep.
We're not going anywhere, though.
Yep, we're here.
We're here. Our voice is going to be heard. You might agree with it. You might
disagree with it. So,
it is okay.
End of the day, we hope to encourage you and push you to get 1% better.
Absolutely, get 1% better. I know this is our longest episode in a while, but it is episode 50, and we're so grateful for you. Hit our merch store at malecartel.com. Go to the merch tab there, the merch page, and we've got hats, t-shirts for the warm season coming up. And if you want a hoodie, we've got those as well.
Get it.
And share and like and spread the word for the Male Cartel.
Yep. If you're encouraged, drop us a comment.
All right. We'll see you. Episode 51 coming soon.
Thank you for joining the Male Cartel podcast. Be sure to subscribe and share to help other men join the cartel. You can also keep up with us on social media and at malecartel.com.